Welcome back to Wednesday's Morning Focus with myself, Alan Morrissey. It's 0818 400 964 to call us if you've something on your mind that you would like to share. Perhaps it's an opinion or review on what we've been talking about on today's show, be it the situation with the Fianna Fáil review into Jim Gavin's selection as their presidential candidate. And of course, that's what sounded like a fraught, lengthy meeting last evening within the party. And we were speaking about that earlier on with Cathal Crowe. Or maybe you want to give us your views on the first conversation we were having. Of course, the government approving the plans for extra beds at UHL new site as well following the HIC review. They're going to have a blend of all three options, including developing a Model 3 hospital with an emergency department somewhere in the Midwest. I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, are hoping it's in Clare. Whether you want to get in touch on any of that or anything else at all, 0818 400 964 is the number, of course, to call. 086 1800 964. That's our text and WhatsApp number. Send us a voice note or email focus@clare.fm. You'll need that text or WhatsApp number if you've any issues with your pet, your cat, your dog, whatever type of pet you have. Maybe it's an anaconda snake, I don't know. Let us know if you have a problem. Vet John Gary is going to be with us later on from Treaty Veterinary Clinic, so we'll put your questions to him. And if you have any questions on money matters, Tommy Corbett can address those. Send them to the same number. Our competitions will be giving away not one but two prizes at the end of the show. Give a mention to our Moona Milk prize again. Absolutely fantastic prize. It's all part of Moveless Mornings with Moona Milk. They're celebrating 3 brilliant years of fresh local Clare milk from their Moona vending machines across the county. And we have a prepaid fob for 20 litres of Moona Milk, 6 reusable bottles and a custom Moona Milk carrier bag to give away. All you have to do is listen in for the clue, which I've gave out earlier and I'll give again now, for where is the moo cow today. So I'm going to give a clue to a Clare village or town where Moona have placed their famous moo cow sign. So if you know the location, let us know on 086 1800 964. The clue for Moveless Mornings is a village famous for crosses, ceilidhs and a cracking musical tradition. The city of the crosses, some might say. What place is it? If you think you know the answer, send it to 086 1800 964. And many of you getting in touch, not just on that, but our Off the Rails competition as well. Off the Rails clothing and accessories on Main Street in Ennistimon. We've a €50 voucher to give away as we have each day this week on the show. And that'd be a lovely additional Christmas gift to have, would it not? The question we are asking you, if you want to be in with a chance of winning that, is if Santa Claus granted you one wish to erase one memory from your past, what would it be? Quite the variety coming in here. Listener here says, if I could ask Santa to erase a memory, it would be of a recent date. My best friend set me up on a blind double date that felt like a scripted comedy of errors. My match spent the entire dinner debating the waiter about the scientific properties of tap water versus bottled. When the bill came, he calculated the tip down to the penny and asked me to Venmo him for my half of the shared breadsticks. God, that's tight as tuppence. Never dating again. And Taryn Kilkishan says, right, so I was walking through a crowded shopping mall feeling incredibly confident in my new tailored suit and polished shoes. I didn't notice the yellow sign and of course took a theatrical slide across the floor. Happy to erase that for good. God, imagine that happened in a shopping centre. Lots and lots of people around. Well, look, hopefully we can help you erase that memory, Tara, with the €50 voucher. Keep listening. You are one of our listeners who's in the hunt, in contention for that. So lots more to come on the show, but we're kicking off this hour with something Christmas related, because, of course, as Christmas approaches, many families across the county are facing increasing financial pressure. Joining me in studio now is Denis Carty, Area President of the Society of St Vincent de Paul and Clare, who's appealing to the public for support this Christmas. Denis, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Alan.
Thanks very much for being with us. We're just 8 days away from Santa's arrival. How, though, Denis, would you describe the level of demand SVP is seeing across Clare this year? What is it? Can you give us a general sense of what the situation is like for families in the county?
Okay, so it's a very, very busy year for Vincent de Paul. All our conferences, all our different branches throughout County Clare are working very, very hard at the moment. I'd say that it's probably the busiest that we have been even since the economic crash. And even that's the experience of the society right across the country. Like this year, we're in line to have over 250,000 requests for assistance, and we know ourselves we don't have the figures yet for Clare, but we know that up until November we had nearly 4,000 requests for assistance, and that in in 2024 we would have helped 1,500 households, individuals and households, families in that time. So all the different branches of St Vincent de Paul throughout the county are very busy at the moment, tending to need people, obviously with the whole cost of living crisis, are struggling. People traditionally who might have been on social welfare, but also people that are in employment. And particularly for those people, we've seen inflation has started to tick up again, but it isn't just that 3% figure. It's the things that it has started to increase are on the basics, the food, the electricity, the basic commodities in life, and that's really affected people coming to us.
I mean, that is a stark comment to make, Denis, and one that I think would definitely catch people's ear, that it's the worst you've seen since the economic crash. And we, as you've touched on, cost of living, still very much an issue. Can you point to something else, though, that you think is kind of lending itself or causing there to be a significant increase this year? One thing that comes to mind is the recent budget. We don't have the energy credits anymore. There wasn't, there's a lot of dismay around that budget, that the squeezed middle didn't receive any support in it. Has that kind of exacerbated matters?
Well, I think, obviously, listen, there were some positive things in the budget. We in the society had called for the targeting of measures on people most in need. But, in terms of those energy credits, we obviously would have argued that they should be targeted. And they are targeted now. But unfortunately, the people that are getting support now, we've seen increases in terms of the fuel allowance. We've seen the extension of that to people in working family payment. Those are people in working hard in low income jobs that need a little bit of extra support, and that was great to see that. But unfortunately, those increases in the fuel allowance aren't enough to compensate for the loss of the credits. And most of the increase, I think, was around €5. That is going to be eaten up with the costs of electricity. So that's already gone before the people have it. So things like that are certainly having an impact on people. And I suppose we would have highlighted a lot of areas in the budget, even the basic income adequacy for people. It isn't sufficient. And we pointed this out years ago before the COVID crisis, before we had this inflation crisis. But now we've gone through this crisis over the last 5 years to such an extent, like the €100 that you had to spend in 2020, you now need €120 now to get the same value for it.
The numbers of people you were helping, and as you said, it's across the board, be it young, old, and those who were working as well. And the working poor is something we've discussed with you quite often. In terms of the type of supports you are most commonly providing to people, be it individuals, families, or any of those groups I mentioned, at this time of year, what most are you helping with?
So I suppose that the most thing that we would help people with would be in terms of food. We spend, I think, nearly €140,000 a year on food supports in terms of vouchers to people. And that's the most thing. But we also spend €130,000 on fuel and electricity costs for people. So those are the two big areas that we help with for people. And they're the things that are most critical in people's homes to keep the lights on and to keep food on the table. And that's where, if you don't have savings, if you run into a crisis, if there's a relationship breakdown, if the car breaks down and you don't have savings to fix it, if there's a health issue or whatever in your family, these are the crisis and the pinch points for families that come to us. Now, I know we're starting to see a lot more people. Certainly some of our groups are starting to see people who are working coming to us, but I know that there is a kind of reluctance among people to come to us. They feel that Vincent de Paul isn't for them, but we are for anybody that's in need. As our organisation, it's a Christian organisation, a Catholic organisation, but the main point about us is that we assist everybody that is in need, regardless of their colour, their creed, their religion, or their position in life. And we see, people that are working, that were comfortable in the past, experiencing difficulty, and we're happy to reach out to them in a sensitive and confidential manner.
We'll touch on the Christmas appeal in just a moment, Denis, your annual Christmas appeal. I just wonder, given the increasing numbers of people you were helping this year, and you mentioned the huge amounts of money you're handing out for food for people and for fuel and energy and so on. Do you find that this Christmas appeal is more needed by SVP than ever before? Is it close to a point where you're struggling to meet demand, and you really you need the resources, the financial resources, to enable you to expand that what you're providing?
So I suppose, yes, that we do in Clare need those financial resources to help people, and that this appeal is very, very important to us, because it's one of the big opportunities that we have, or the only big opportunity we have in the year to get across to people. And people at Christmas are in a mood of generosity and sharing, and so it is very important to us. It enables us to do that work, and not just on, and you mentioned there the big money that we spend on the food and the fuel, but we also spend a significant amount of money on education. Last year we spent, I think, close to €60,000 on helping people access third level education and training schemes, because we don't have a magic wand when it comes to helping people and getting them out of the crisis they may be in. We can certainly help and listen and support and try and mitigate some of the things. But one of the things that we do in a big way is in terms of support and self-sufficiency. And there are lots of people that are struggling to avail of opportunities for education or training because of a cost, or because the SUSI grants aren't sufficient to cover their accommodation costs or whatever. And we can step in, and we have a dedicated branch here in Ennis that will step in, will talk to the family, or will talk to the individual concerned, and work with them to try and get them to avail of that opportunity.
The Christmas appeal itself, tell us more about it, Denis, and why the public support is so crucial right now. I suppose you have kind of touched on that in a sense, though, given the increasing demand this year.
Yes, so the Christmas appeal, it's been running for some weeks now. We just had our National Churchgate collection last weekend, and I'd just like to thank all the people that contributed to that and their generosity that they showed. I understand the cost of living crisis is very widespread across our society, and a lot of people don't have the same money to support causes that they maybe had in the past. So I'd just like to acknowledge that generosity. So it's been, we've, I think, been keeping touch with other years in terms of the appeal so far. But, I'd like to thank all those people for their generosity. Not alone had we the Churchgate collection, but in some areas we have parish councils have put envelopes through doors where people can send back a donation to us. There are envelopes in businesses for people to donate to us. People have called into our shop here in 86 Parnell Street and made donations, or they've sent in cheques to 86 Parnell Street made out to the Society St Vincent de Paul in Clare. Some businesses, a lot of businesses have given us support, either vouchers. This morning I had a company on to me making a cash donation instead of sending hampers and Christmas cards out. So we're very, very grateful for that support, because without that support we couldn't do the work that we do. And I'd just like to thank also to the schools, many of the schools. There's a young SVP programme, I think it runs in most of the secondary schools in County Clare, and a lot of those schools do great work for us and support us. I know the Gael College and the Community College here have done work in the shop, and I think they're doing something in January too. So just to acknowledge all that support that we get.
Okay, I guess, look, any donations, be they large or small, are going to make a difference to families during the Christmas period. For people listening who want to get involved in supporting you as part of that Christmas appeal, how can they do so?
So they can do so in a number of ways. They can go to the svp.ie website, and there's a button there to donate, and you can actually pick where you want that donation to go. It can come to County Clare, but it also can come to your local community in County Clare. Like, we have branches in Kilkee, Kilrush, Ennistimon, Milltown, Malbay, here in Ennis, Clare Castle, 6 Mile Bridge, Newmarket and Fergus, Shannon and East Clare. So you can do that. You will see envelopes in churches where you can put in your donation. A cheque would be preferable, and that can be sent back to us, and we'll get to your local SVP branch. And there's a phone number. It's 0818 176 176, 0818 176 176. You can ring that number now and you can make a credit card donation if you wish. And we're very, very grateful for the support that we receive, and just to assure people that it will go out to help people in your local community deal with the problems that they're facing at the moment.
Christmas is the time for giving and receiving, so give what you can, because it'll be very much welcomed and received by SVP. Denis, I know you always welcome as many hands on deck as possible. If anyone would like to volunteer with you guys, how can they do that?
So if anybody is interested in volunteering with us, what they can do is they can go to our svp.ie website. They can register their interest there. You can see about the work that we do and where you might fit into that work, or you can ring our Limerick number on 061 317 327. That's 061 317 327. And you can register your interest there. Now, obviously, we're busy at the moment helping people, but certainly in January, somebody would get back to you. We'd love to hear from you because, one of the things about our Christmas appeal and Churchgate collections and all the other stuff that goes on is you can see the compassion and empathy that people have in the community. And, maybe you can't make the donation this year or make the donation that you'd like to make, but you can help us if you have 2, 3, 4 hours time free during the week. We'd love to hear from you. There's full training provided. You'll never be on your own. You'll always be working with another volunteer, and there'll be Garda vetting provided, and there'll be very good support provided. And we just love to hear from people that have that free time. I know we're going into Christmas, but the new year is coming and New Year's resolutions. So maybe some of the people listening this morning just might examine that possibility.
Well, there's a lot of good souls out there listening to Clare FM Morning Focus, so hopefully some of them will step forward. And while we're speaking about contacting and contact details, Denis, for anyone listening, because clearly a lot of different cohorts in society are affected. If anyone needs to reach out to SVP for help, how can they do that?
So you can do it in two ways. You can ring the Limerick number 061 317 327. 061 317 327, or you can go to our svp.ie website. It will have those contact details there, and there is a web contact page, and you can register your interest there. And all the groups that I work with in Clare will tell me they know there are people in their communities that could do with support, that are struggling, who are afraid to come forward and feel ashamed or embarrassed. And I'd ask people to consider there is support out there, and even if we are unable to provide that support, we may be able to signpost you to another service or another agency who can help you. There are payments in terms of the community welfare, there's MABs, the citizens information, various other services out there that can help you, or a hardship fund or whatever in terms of electricity. So I'd ask people, not to suffer in silence.
Okay, Denis, thank you very, very much. I hope the appeal goes really well, and happy Christmas and New Year to you.
Thanks very much, Alan, for all your support.